Hello, and welcome to School Matters, our monthly show highlighting the great things happening in Minneapolis Public Schools. On today's show, we will look at a program at Patrick Henry High where students help students work out differences. We'll go on location at North High where they're breaking new ground with a new, and some say highly unlikely community partner. We'll get important info on scholarships, and we'll showcase the talent of a South High student who won a national singing contest. That's not all. One of our high schools was named among the best in the nation by U.S. News and World Report. You might know the high school, but today, find out why it's such a standout. Stay with us for another exciting episode of School Matters. As we all know, and many of us remember all too well, navigating the high school social scene is dicey stuff. The friends you have one day may not be the friends you have the next, and romances can come and go awry. And bullying these days, well, that can take place online and on cell phones. At Patrick Henry High School, they're piloting a program with great promise in resolving those kinds of issues, and they're doing this before they escalate. To tell us more about the conflict resolution program there at Patrick Henry, we have Brian Bell from Minnesota State Bar Association and Assistant Principal Hattie Bonds of Patrick Henry High School. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Brian, I want to start with you. If you could tell us, what is this conflict resolution program all about?
Yes, well, first, Rose, thank you for having us on the show. And Ms. Bonds, thank you for inviting us into the school. The conflict mediation program really started at the American Bar Association with the new Lawyers Division, and our past president came to the Civic Education Committee of the State Bar to propose the program. We approached Ms. Bonds about the program last spring, and essentially what it is it starts with students, and it's essentially like any other peer mediation program where student mediators are trained, this time by volunteer attorney coaches, to mediate disputes between students. So when conflicts arise, Ms. Bonds or two other folks that we're working with at the school, Margaret Kavanaugh and Cynthia Williams, will identify the conflict and call on one of these student mediators to mediate the conflict.
So I'm excited about the fact that you've got volunteer attorneys coming in and
Correct.
doing this. And my understanding also is that you've just selected mediators?
Yes, we have just selected those mediators.
How did you go about doing that?
Well, I think first, the kind of what attributes we look for when selecting a mediator. We want a student that's mature, someone who's going to show a degree of emotional intelligence, can both manage the emotions of others as well as their own. So we had teachers nominate students that fit that category, and then of course looked at their academic record, their discipline record, and then wanted a cross-segment of students because these students aren't just going to be mediating formal conflicts. They're going to be going into their peer groups on a Saturday night during lunch.
So even beyond the normal day?
Exactly.
Okay. So I want to get to Hattie and ask you about the kinds of conflicts that you normally see in a day.
Well, you said it so well, Rose, when you talk about the romance, when you talk about the cyberbullying sometimes, and you talk about a whole array of problems that are quite different now than they used to be.
And they start early.
And they do.
Okay.
So, yes. And then, of course, the gossip and the kids saying things behind each other's backs and trying to work through all of that process and figure out what's actually going on.
Okay. Well, do you think, Hattie, that students tend to listen better to students? Is this a great process?
Absolutely. Probably 30 years ago, 20 years ago, family was the centerpiece of everything. However, now we know that that may not be the case in many instances. Now we have students or peers are listening to each other a lot more, and they have a lot more influence sometimes.
Sure.
Oftentimes in our society, we rarely see instances where kids are trying to resolve conflict in other ways other than with a fist or a punch and that kind of thing. And, you know, we can even look at our country and our culture. We're in an occupation of a country right now, and so even the adults find it difficult other than through war sometimes, and even adults do the gossiping and that kind of thing that causes all kinds of problems. And so, you know, we're thinking that the more often we can show students other opportunities to resolve conflict in as many ways as they can, I think we're going to be further ahead in the game.
All right. And so today you have three students here, and they're about to show us something. Thank you. Let's watch.
Thank you.
Thank you two for coming in today. For the sake of training, I'm going to be the mediator, and you two are going to act as the disputants. We'll first read the scenario, and then do just a little shorter version of the storytelling piece of the mediation, and then just jump right into the agreement for the sake of the training. So I'll start by reading the role play, which is Amber and Shanta MySpace gossiping. Amber and Shanta are good friends, but are very competitive with one another. One Sunday evening, Amber logs onto her MySpace page to find out that Shanta had made a comment on Amber's MySpace page. I saw Amber at Block E on a date with this ugly dude from North Minneapolis, is posted on her MySpace page. The next morning, Amber is hot and avoids Shanta until lunch, that is. As soon as Amber sees Shanta, she confronts her. The tension quickly escalates as old grudges resurface. Just before they say something that's really going to make each other mad, Ms. Williams comes over and suggests that they work out their problem through peer mediation. Shanta, why don't you have, or Amber, sorry, you tell your side of the story first, or explain your role play.
Okay. Well, Shanta wrote some stuff on her MySpace about me, saying that I was with the ugly guy at Block E, but that wasn't true because the guy that I was with was my cousin. He just moved here from Chicago, and I was with him that Saturday, and her writing that stuff on MySpace made me feel bad because we're supposed to be good friends, and Shanta could have called me up and told me that, you know, or asked me who I was with. She didn't have to post it on MySpace for the world to see it.
You opened your MySpace page up and had been on taking your cousin out, and she had written something that upset you on your MySpace page, and you thought that you could resolve it through mediation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Shanta, can you tell your side of the story?
Well, me and Amber were supposed to go to the mall and have some fun and everything, but she said that she was going with her cousin. I saw her with this ugly dude over on Block E, and it did not look like her cousin. Doesn't even look related to her. And I feel that we're good enough friends that we could hang out more often instead of her lying to me, and so I told her on MySpace.
Okay. So I understand that you had made plans with Amber before, and so you're kind of upset when you saw her at Block E with someone else.
Yes.
And maybe felt like you'd been lied to.
Yes.
Okay. Well, can you guys think of any, perhaps, solutions to this problem? Just really anything. We're brainstorming here, so there's not really a bad idea how we might resolve this problem.
Well, the next time I want her to ask me first or confront me about it instead of just talking to other people or writing stuff on MySpace about me.
Mm-hmm. So in the future, if she has a problem with you, maybe talk to you about it ahead of time and not say it where everybody might be able to hear.
Yes.
Okay, any other ideas? Really, anything?
To have, maybe we can have our own other time together, and you have a family time, but also have some time with like your friends and everything.
Okay, so make sure that maybe once a week or just periodically you guys set aside some time to hang out with one another. Okay, anything else that we can think of? Okay, so what I'm hearing is that if ever in the future this kind of thing happens where there might be a miscommunication, to have Shanta, or for both of you actually, to kind of talk to one another about it one-on-one as opposed to making assumptions about it. And then actually having some time kind of scheduled throughout the week or periodically for you to hang out. Is that kind of what I'm hearing as a potential agreement? Yes. Okay. Now, is this something that you guys really think can work, that you can really stick to this? And, you know, what might be a backup if this doesn't work?
We could try another mediation.
Okay, so maybe another mediation for a backup. Is this something that you two think could work?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Well, I really appreciate it. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning is that I will keep this confidential with just a few exceptions, this mediation and any future mediation, and that whether you two talk about it is up to you. Typically at the beginning, again, and I'm stepping back into the training mode, I will explain to you that there's no name calling and being respectful, but you two just did an excellent job of that today, so thank you. And that's mediation.